What if I told you that inside a locked safe hidden in a Manhattan mansion, investigators uncovered material so disturbing it could shake the foundations of power in America? A secret stash that wasn't just whispered about in tabloids but confirmed by major outlets, and yet years later so much of what was found remains out of the public's reach. Imagine a safe stacked not with money or jewels but with photographs, tapes, and documents that could implicate some of the most powerful men in the world. Now ask yourself this: why has so much of it stayed buried? Back in 2019, when federal agents raided the townhouse of a man whose name has become synonymous with scandal, they found that very safe.
Thank you, Director Patel, for being here today. The FBI searched Jeffrey Epstein's Manhattan residence, correct?
I believe that happened in 2018. I think there was 2 locations, sir.
It's 2019, and in that residence, the FBI found a safe, correct?
I don't have the catalog of evidence in front of me.
In that residence, the FBI found a safe, correct?
I'll accept your representation.
Okay. And in that safe, the FBI found topless and lewd photographs of girls, correct?
Again, sir, I'll accept your representation. I don't know.
Thank you. It was all over the media at the time. There's a New York Times article that says Jeffrey Epstein is indicted on sex charges as discovery of nude photos is disclosed, dated July 8th, 2019. And the Times reports a trove of lewd photographs of girls was discovered in a safe inside financier Jeffrey Epstein's Manhattan mansion. Author Michael Wolff has conducted numerous interviews of Jeffrey Epstein. I'm going to play for you a video clip of what Michael Wolff said Epstein told him was in the safe and what he showed the author was in this safe. So let's please play that clip now.
Elected. And I was sitting talking to Epstein, and he said, "Wait a minute, I got to show you something." And then he went into his safe, and he came out with photographs. They were Polaroids, I think, and he kind of spread them out like playing cards, and it was Trump. I mean, I think there were a dozen of them, and it was Trump with girls of an uncertain age at Epstein's Palm Beach house, where all of the things that he would ultimately be accused of took place. And I remember very vividly 3 of them. There are 2 in which Trump is, the girls, topless girls, are sitting on Trump's lap. And then a 3rd in which he has a stain on the front of his pants. And the girls are kind of pointing at it, sort of bent over, laughing.
So Director Patel, I'm going to ask you a very broad and general question. As you know, Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein were friends. There are, of course, photos showing Donald Trump together with Epstein, correct?
I don't have the entirety of the photographs, but I think they've been photographed in public together.
All right. Are there any photos showing Donald Trump with girls of an uncertain age?
No,
How do you know that?
because that information would have been brought to light by multiple administrations and FBI investigators over the course of the last 20 years.
Well, you know what? That's just not true, because no one knew about the creepy birthday message that Donald Trump wrote to Jeffrey Epstein until the Wall Street Journal disclosed it, and then all of a sudden, the Epstein estate provides it to Congress.
Well,
so certainly, you weren't there at the search. You don't know what Epstein may or may not have done with those photographs even prior to the search. Maybe someone has it. Maybe the Epstein estate has it.
You raise a great point.
So I'm going to ask you, have you asked to talk to Michael Wolff?
You raise a great point. I haven't personally asked to talk to
Has the
Michael
FBI
Wolff,
asked?
but
you
the
to interview Michael Wolff?
FBI, I'll get back to you if the FBI specifically
So Michael Wolff
has
has
ever.
about 100 hours of testimony of Jeffrey Epstein. Wouldn't it be good for the FBI to interview Michael Wolff?
I'm not saying they haven't, I just don't know.
Has FBI subpoenaed the tapes that Michael Wolff has conducted of Jeffrey Epstein?
I don't know.
All right, so if you could provide us an answer, that would be terrific.
Sure.
Well, let me ask you this question then. Have you looked at all the photos in Epstein files?
I have looked at all the information that the investigators who investigated this case have provided to run out credible leads.
And in the Epstein files, was there that creepy birthday message that Donald Trump had written to Epstein?
But that's what I was trying to tell you. You raise a great point. The estate of Jeffrey Epstein has a voluminous amount of information that they have not released before.
Okay, so that's great. So Wouldn't it be great if FBI subpoenaed the estate of Jeffrey Epstein for all that information?
The estate is under no obligation to provide that material, even pursuant to a subpoena. That's a great point.
Yeah, that's just false.
Okay.
That's just false. You're the frickin' FBI. You can subpoena the information from the estate, and you better do that. I'd like
That's
to move
literally
on.
not how it works.
I'm going to move on now and talk about Epstein's client list. You confirmed that it exists. Attorney General Pam Bondi confirmed earlier this year that it exists. So I just want to ask you a simple question. Is Prince Andrew on Epstein's client list?
The material related to Prince Andrew has been made public.
Is Prince Andrew on the client list?
We have released the index of names
All right,
that were in Jeffrey Epstein's.
Is Donald Trump on Epstein's client list?
The index has been released, and the index will speak for
So I'm
itself.
just going to say, America, there's a huge red flag. The FBI director could not answer
Gentlemen.
whether Donald Trump was on Epstein's
Gentleman's time
client
has
list.
expired.
I
Chair
yield
now
back.
recognizes the gentleman from Virginia.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank the director for being here and for his
News outlets reported at the time that explicit photographs were discovered inside. The safe was real. The contents were real. But from that moment forward, the trail gets murky. What exactly was seized, and why does the public still not know the full extent of what was inside? That's the first thread in a web that keeps getting more tangled the closer you look. Author Michael Wolff, who spent hours interviewing the disgraced financier, says he was personally shown Polaroid photographs pulled from that very safe. According to him, the man spread them out like a deck of playing cards, grinning as he flipped through them. And the images Wolff claims were not just of random encounters, they included powerful figures caught in compromising situations with young women of uncertain age. In one vivid detail, he recalled photos where girls were perched on laps, topless, laughing at something that made the whole scene even more disturbing. He says he saw it with his own eyes. Whether every detail holds up or not, the claim alone should have triggered a firestorm of scrutiny, yet curiously, it didn't. Why? When the issue came before Congress, the man now leading the FBI faced tough direct questioning. Lawmakers pressed him, did the Bureau review all the photos, the tapes, the messages? Over and over, his answers fell back on the same refrain, I'll accept your representation. I don't know, I haven't personally seen it. Not exactly the confidence-building response one would expect from the nation's top law enforcement official. And when asked whether certain infamous messages, like the unsettling birthday note linking two men long rumored to be close, were in the files, he said no. But almost immediately, that claim was undercut by the fact that new evidence, like that very note, surfaced only recently through independent reporting, not the FBI. That moment exposed a painful truth: either the FBI doesn't have all the information, or it has it and isn't releasing it. Both possibilities are deeply unsettling, because if investigators never secured all the evidence from the estate that now controls many of those materials, then massive holes remain in the case. And if they did but won't disclose it, then the public has been misled about what transparency really means. The estate itself has become a shadow player in this story. Sitting on troves of material, documents, recordings, perhaps more photographs, it has released only what it chooses. When pressed on why the FBI hasn't forced full disclosure, the director insisted the estate isn't required to comply, not even with a subpoena. That's when one congressman snapped back, "That's just false. You're the FBI." The frustration wasn't just about one man's answers, it was about what those answers implied. If the most powerful investigative agency in the world claims it can't even compel evidence in a case of international interest, who exactly is it protecting? And then comes the question everyone wants answered: the client list. Time and again, survivors, advocates, and the public have demanded it. Who was involved? Who should be held accountable? Earlier this year, even the Attorney General acknowledged that such a list exists. An index of names tied to the operation has indeed been released, but the sense of incompleteness lingers. High-profile figures are rumored to be there, some confirmed, others left in a gray zone of speculation. When asked point-blank whether certain royal family members or other powerful figures were included, the FBI's answers were evasive. The index will speak for itself. Except the index didn't answer the questions, it only raised more. So what does this pattern show us? It shows a gap between promises and practice, a gap that Congressman Ted Lieu skillfully exposed. His questioning revealed three critical issues. First, evidence versus explanation. The Bureau leaned on the line that it had released what it legally could, But without showing court orders, subpoenas, or motions to unseal, those claims are hollow. Saying we did everything possible is not the same as showing the paper trail that proves it. Second, transparency versus evasion. No one is asking to publicize the names of survivors or private details that would re-traumatize victims. But transparency means at least disclosing the categories of evidence seized, the motions filed, the court responses, and the leads pursued. It means letting the public see that every angle was chased down, every claim investigated. Without that, transparency becomes little more than a buzzword. Third, politics versus process. Too often, leaders promise bold action while out of office, only to fall back on procedure and vague legal excuses once they hold power. That shift from fiery pledges to opaque technicalities erodes public trust. When people see clear contradictions, like the sudden surfacing of a note that was supposedly never in the files, they start to wonder if the system is designed not to reveal truth, but to protect it from ever coming out. The oversight hearing wasn't just about one case, it was about what kind of justice system America really has. If wealthy estates can withhold explosive evidence, if investigators claim helplessness in the face of obvious leads, and if politicians accept procedural half-answers instead of demanding records and receipts, then survivors and the public alike are left betrayed. And that betrayal cuts deeper than any scandal, because it tells ordinary people that when power is involved, rules bend, cases stall, and justice goes blind. So what should happen next? Real oversight has a roadmap. First, demand a full categorized inventory of what was seized from that mansion safe and other locations, files, hard drives, tapes, photographs, with a clear note of what remains sealed and under what authority. Second, compel disclosure of any legal motions filed to unseal, redact or release material, along with court responses. Third, insist the FBI confirm whether it has subpoenaed the estate for unreleased evidence, and if not, explain why. Fourth, require redacted witness summaries and interview records so the public can see that leads were actually pursued. Names can be hidden, but the fact that interviews happened and contain key details does not have to be secret. Finally, press the Bureau to confirm whether journalists and authors who claim to have seen evidence have ever been interviewed under oath, and whether recordings of those conversations exist. These steps are not radical, they are the bare minimum for public accountability. Survivors deserve to know their testimony isn't gathering dust in sealed vaults. The public deserves to know whether the names whispered for years are tied to actual evidence. And everyone deserves to know whether the justice system truly applies equally, or only until it bumps up against the powerful and the well-connected. What's at stake here is bigger than one investigation. It's about whether people still believe that truth matters, that institutions fight for it, and that no amount of money or status can shield you from it. If people lose that faith, what's left is cynicism, apathy, and the belief that the system was never meant to work for them in the first place. That's the real danger, because once trust is gone, restoring it is almost impossible. Which brings us back to the safe in Manhattan. Locked away inside was a key to understanding how deep this scandal went. But years later, the safe is more metaphor than evidence, a symbol of secrets too explosive to ever be shown. Unless pressure mounts, unless oversight insists on records, inventories, and subpoenas, the safe will remain locked. And the truth, whatever it is, will stay hidden. If you've followed this far, it means you care about truth, about justice, and about holding institutions accountable. And if you want to see more investigations unpacked in detail, where we dig past the headlines and follow the threads that powerful people would rather keep buried, make sure to hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and share this video with others who want answers. Because the only way the truth comes out is if enough people demand it. Stay tuned, stay curious, and together we'll keep the pressure on.